The aliens laughed at Earth's primitive weapons, but their mockery would soon turn to terror. At the Grand Galactic Summit on Lemnoria Prime, Earth's ambassador Carl Murphy stood before the assembled alien races, his jaw clenched as he endured their derision. The cavernous hall echoed with sneers and chuckles as he presented humanity's military capabilities, a stark contrast to the advanced energy-based weaponry of the Lemnorians and their allies. Pollux, the Lemnorian military commander, stepped forward, his 4 eyes narrowed in contempt. "You expect to defend yourselves with these crude kinetic weapons? Projectiles and explosives?" He gestured to the holographic display of Earth's arsenal. "Our energy shields would vaporize such primitive attacks before they even reached our ships." Carl raised his hands, attempting to explain the strategic value of kinetic weapons. "While our technology may seem outdated, I assure you—" His words were drowned out by another wave of laughter. Pollux turned to the Galactic Alliance representatives, his voice dripping with disdain. "Surely we cannot admit such a backward species into our ranks. They would be a liability, not an asset." The summit concluded with a unanimous decision. Earth's application for membership in the Galactic Alliance was denied. Humiliated, Carl returned to his ship for the long journey home. As he stared out at the stars, he couldn't shake the feeling that this diplomatic failure would have far-reaching consequences. Upon his return to Earth, Carl delivered his report to the United Earth government. The council chamber fell silent as he recounted the aliens' mockery and the denied application. After a tense debate, the UEG initiated a classified military research and development program codenamed Project Thunderbolt. Its mission, to enhance Earth's existing kinetic weapon technology and prove the aliens wrong. As Earth scientists worked tirelessly in secret facilities, troubling reports began to stream in from the fringes of human-controlled space. The Lemnorians, emboldened by their perceived superiority, were encroaching on Earth's territory. They established outposts on neutral planets, turned away human ships from trade routes, and flexed their military might with increasing frequency. Tensions rose as the UEG debated its response. Carl advocated for restraint, warning of the dangers of confronting a technologically superior enemy. But with each passing day, the pressure to act grew stronger. On Lemnoria Prime, Pollux received a promotion to Supreme Commander of the Lemnorian Fleet. His first order, increase patrols near Earth's colonies. As Lemnorian warships prowled the edges of human space, Earth scientists made breakthrough after breakthrough. Railgun technology advanced by leaps and bounds, and smart munitions promised to revolutionize space combat. The UEG began quietly retrofitting its warships, preparing for a conflict they hoped to avoid, but increasingly saw as inevitable. Then human intelligence operatives uncovered plans for a Lemnorian peacekeeping mission to Earth, a thinly veiled attempt at intimidation or possible invasion. With time running out, the UEG made a desperate gamble. They sent Carl on one final diplomatic mission to the Lemnorian homeworld. As his ship entered Lemnorian space, Carl rehearsed his arguments, unaware that Supreme Commander Pollux had already sealed humanity's fate. Pollux stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the human vessels approach on the tactical display. His mandibles clicked in anticipation as he gave the order that would change the course of galactic history. Intercept and destroy the human ship. Let the war begin. As Carl's ship streaked through the void, blissfully unaware of the danger ahead, humanity stood on the brink of a conflict that would prove once and for all the true power of Earth's primitive weapons. The sleek human vessel glided through Lemnorian space, its hull gleaming in the light of distant stars. Ambassador Carl Murphy stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back as he gazed out at the vast expanse before him. The tension in the air was palpable, but Carl maintained his composure, rehearsing his carefully prepared arguments in his mind. Suddenly, the ship's sensors blared to life. The tactical officer's voice cut through the silence. "Multiple contacts detected. Lemnorian warships closing in fast." Before Carl could process the information, the space around them erupted in a dazzling display of energy weapons. The ship rocked violently as the first volley struck their shields, bathing the bridge in an eerie blue glow. "Evasive maneuvers!" shouted the captain, his fingers flying across the control panel. The human vessel lurched to the side, narrowly avoiding another barrage of energy beams. Carl gripped the nearest console, his fist clenched. "This is madness! We're on a diplomatic mission!" The tactical officer's voice was grim. "Sir, I'm detecting the Lemnorian flagship. It's Supreme Commander Pollux himself leading the attack." On the bridge of his massive warship, Pollux watched the human vessel with cold satisfaction. His 4 eyes narrowed as he barked orders to his crew. "Intensify the assault. I want that ship obliterated." The human ship bucked and weaved through space, its AI-driven defense systems working overtime to predict and avoid the relentless Lemnorian attack. Sparks flew on the bridge as systems overloaded, and the acrid smell of burning circuitry filled the air. "Shields at 30% and falling," called out the engineer, her voice strained. "We can't take much more of this." Carl's mind raced. This unprovoked attack could only mean one thing. Diplomacy had failed, and the Lemnorians were intent on war. He turned to the captain, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We need to get this information back to Earth. They must be warned." The captain nodded grimly. "Preparing for emergency warp jump. Everyone, brace yourselves." With a blinding flash of light, the human ship vanished from Lemnorian space, leaving behind a furious Pollux and his fleet. As news of the attack spread across Earth and its colonies, the response was swift and decisive. The United Earth government convened an emergency session, the chamber buzzing with angry voices and calls for retaliation. President Elena Rodriguez stood at the podium, her face etched with tenacity. "Today, we face an unprecedented threat. The Lemnorians have shown their true colors, and we must respond with all the strength and ingenuity humanity can muster. I hereby declare a state of emergency and order the full mobilization of our military forces." In secret facilities around the globe, scientists and engineers worked feverishly to complete Project Thunderbolt. Dr. Marcus Davis, his lab coat stained with coffee and his eyes bloodshot from countless sleepless nights, stood before a group of government officials and military leaders. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice hoarse but filled with excitement, "I'm pleased to announce a major breakthrough in our railgun technology. We've achieved projectile speeds and accuracy levels that were previously thought impossible." He gestured to a massive screen behind him, displaying complex diagrams and simulations. "These advancements will allow us to punch through Lemnorian energy shields and deliver devastating kinetic impacts. We're not just catching up to their technology, we're leapfrogging it." As Earth's shipyards hummed with activity, churning out upgraded warships equipped with the new railguns and smart munitions, a call went out across the planet and its colonies. Recruitment centers were flooded with volunteers, men and women eager to defend their homes against the alien threat. In a state-of-the-art training facility, fresh recruits marveled at the power of their new weapons. Sergeant Maria Chen, a veteran of previous conflicts, put them through their paces. "Remember," she barked, "these aren't your grandpa's guns. One shot from these babies can take out a Lemnorian cruiser. Respect the weapon, and it'll keep you alive out there." But even as Earth prepared for war, the Lemnorians struck. Supreme Commander Pollux, emboldened by what he perceived as a successful elimination of the human ambassador, launched a full-scale invasion of human space. On the colony world of New Horizon, panicked civilians fled as Lemnorian warships darkened the sky. Energy beams lanced down from orbit, shattering buildings and vaporizing the colony's outdated defense systems. Sarah Martinez, a schoolteacher, herded a group of terrified children onto an evacuation ship. As they lifted off, she watched her home disappear in a sea of flames. "Where will we go?" a young boy asked, his voice trembling. Sarah swallowed hard, forcing a reassuring smile. "To Earth. We'll be safe there." Aboard the UES Invincible, newly promoted Admiral Sarah Hawkins received the dire reports from the outer colonies. Her face hardened as she reviewed the tactical displays, watching the relentless advance of the Lemnorian fleet. "We can't hold them all," she muttered, her mind racing through strategies and contingencies. Finally, she turned to her command staff. Order a strategic retreat. We'll consolidate our forces around key defensive positions and buy time for Earth to complete its preparations. As the human fleet fell back, Hawkins initiated another crucial part of her plan. Launch the stealth probes, she commanded. I want eyes on every Lemnorian ship, every formation. We need to find their weaknesses. Back on Earth, final preparations were underway for humanity's secret weapon. In a heavily guarded facility in orbit, engineers and technicians swarmed over the massive form of Thor's hammer, an orbital defense platform that dwarfed everything around it. At its heart lay an enormous railgun, its barrel stretching for kilometers. Chief Engineer Raj Patel ran a final systems check, his hands steady despite the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Power levels nominal, he reported. Targeting systems online. Thor's hammer is ready to swing. As the platform moved into its final position in Earth's orbit, President Rodriguez addressed the planet. Her voice rang out over every communication channel, steady and resolute. Citizens of Earth, the hour of our greatest trial is upon us. The Lemnorians thought us weak, dismissed our technology as primitive. Today they will learn the error of their ways. Today we stand united against those who would destroy us. And today we will show the galaxy the true strength of humanity. In the void of space, Supreme Commander Pollux surveyed the approaching jewel of the human empire, Earth itself. His mandibles clicked in anticipation as he prepared to deliver the killing blow to this upstart species. All ships, prepare to engage, he commanded, his voice filled with smug satisfaction. Let us educate these primitives on the true nature of galactic warfare. As the Lemnorian fleet approached Earth's outer defense perimeter, they remained oblivious to the new human weapons awaiting them. Admiral Hawkins' fleet moved into position, their new railguns primed and ready. And in orbit, Thor's hammer stood silent, its massive barrel aimed at the heart of the Lemnorian armada. The stage was set for humanity's first major confrontation with the technologically advanced Lemnorians. As both sides prepared to engage, the fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Balance. The tension was electric as both sides prepared to engage, neither fully aware of what was to come. Admiral Sarah Hawkins stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UES Invincible, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The Lemnorian fleet loomed before them, a vast array of sleek alien vessels that had struck fear into the hearts of humanity for so long. But today would be different. All ships, assume defensive formation Delta, Hawkins commanded, her voice steady. Prepare to engage on my mark. As the human fleet moved into position, the Lemnorian ships began their approach. Supreme Commander Pollux's voice crackled over the comms, a final taunt before the battle began. Pathetic humans, he sneered. Your primitive weapons are no match for our superior technology. Surrender now, and we may show mercy. Hawkins allowed herself a small smile. I think not, Commander. You're about to learn what human ingenuity can accomplish. With a gesture, she signaled the start of the engagement. The space between the two fleets erupted in a dazzling display of energy as the Lemnorians unleashed their first salvo. But instead of the easy victory they expected, they were met with a shocking response. The newly upgraded human ships danced through space, their advanced maneuvering systems allowing them to dodge much of the incoming fire. Then, with a series of thunderous booms that reverberated through the hulls, the railguns opened fire. Hypervelocity rounds streaked across the battlefield, punching through Lemnorian energy shields as if they were tissue paper. Ships that had once seemed invincible now crumbled under the onslaught, their hulls splitting open to spill atmosphere and crew into the void. On the bridge of his flagship, Pollux's mandibles clicked in agitation. Impossible, he roared. Intensify forward firepower. Crush these insects. But as the Lemnorians struggled to regroup, a new threat revealed itself. High above Earth, Thor's hammer came online. The massive orbital defense platform hummed with power as its enormous railgun locked onto its target. Dr. Marcus Davis watched from Project Thunderbolt's control center, his heart pounding. Thor's hammer is ready, he reported to Admiral Hawkins, awaiting your command. Hawkins nodded grimly. Fire. With a flash of electromagnetic energy visible from the planet's surface, Thor's hammer unleashed its payload. The projectile, moving at a velocity that defied comprehension, tore through space. It struck the Lemnorian fleet like the fist of an angry god, ripping through multiple ships in a single, devastating attack. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Lemnorian vessels were obliterated, their debris creating a deadly field of shrapnel that threatened friend and foe alike. Pollux, his four eyes wide with shock, barked orders to his remaining ships. Focus all fire on that orbital weapon, he commanded. Destroy it at all costs. As the Lemnorians regrouped, concentrating their assault on Thor's hammer, Admiral Hawkins saw her opportunity. Delta Squadron, execute flanking maneuver Epsilon, she ordered. Hit them where it hurts. A group of smaller, more agile human ships broke from the main fleet, swinging around behind the Lemnorian force. These vessels, armed with the latest smart munitions, unleashed a precision strike against the aliens' vulnerable propulsion systems and weapon arrays. Explosions blossomed across the Lemnorian rear, crippling ship after ship. The once mighty alien armada began to falter, their formation breaking apart under the relentless human assault. On the lunar surface, Lieutenant Jack Harper and his sensor team worked feverishly, their eyes glued to screens showing the unfolding battle. Suddenly, an alert flashed across Harper's display. "Sir," he called out, his voice tense, "we're detecting multiple warp signatures approaching the system. Lemnorian reinforcements, ETA 15 minutes. The news reached Admiral Hawkins moments later. She quickly assessed the situation, her mind racing through potential strategies. "We can't let those reinforcements join the main battle," she muttered. Then, raising her voice, she issued new orders. "Gamma and Epsilon fleets, break off and move to intercept the incoming hostiles. The rest of you, press the attack. We end this now." As the space battle raged on, Earth itself prepared for the worst. The planetary defense grid hummed to life, thousands of ground-based railguns and missile launchers pointing skyward. In cities across the globe, sirens wailed as civilians hurried to underground shelters. Supreme Commander Pollux, seeing his invasion force crumbling before him, made a fateful decision. "All ships form up on me," he growled. "We're breaking through to the planet. If we can't destroy them from orbit, we'll crush them on the ground." The Lemnorian flagship surged forward, its engines straining as it led a desperate charge towards Earth. But Admiral Hawkins had anticipated such a move. She quickly repositioned her forces, creating a wall of steel and firepower between the aliens and their target. "Not today, Pollux," she said grimly, as the UES Invincible moved to intercept the Lemnorian flagship. The two massive vessels clashed in a titanic duel, energy weapons and railgun fire creating a lethal light show against the backdrop of Earth. As the battle reached its fever pitch, an incoming transmission caught Hawkins off guard. The face that appeared on her screen was one she had thought lost forever. "Admiral Hawkins," said Ambassador Carl Murphy, his image grainy but unmistakable. "I hope I'm not too late to join the party." Hawkins's eyes widened in surprise. "Ambassador? We thought you were dead." Murphy shook his head. "It'll take more than a Lemnorian ambush to keep me down. Listen carefully, Admiral. I've uncovered critical information about Lemnorian weaknesses and supply lines. This could be the key to ending this war once and for all." As Murphy relayed his intelligence, the tide of battle continued to shift. Earth's forces, bolstered by their technological leap and the element of surprise, pressed their advantage. Lemnorian ships fell in increasing numbers, their once impenetrable defenses now seeming obsolete in the face of humanity's grit and ingenuity. But the war was just getting started. Even as Earth celebrated its first major victory, the Lemnorian reinforcements loomed on the horizon. The battered human fleet regrouped, preparing to face this new threat. And on the Lemnorian homeworld, news of the battle's unexpected turn sent shockwaves through the Galactic Alliance. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As both sides steeled themselves for the next phase of this interstellar conflict, one thing was certain: the universe would never be the same again. Ambassador Carl Murphy's face flickered on the console, his unexpected appearance sending a ripple of shock through the bridge of the UES Invincible. Admiral Sarah Hawkins leaned forward, her eyes narrowing as she absorbed the critical intelligence he relayed. "A weakness in their shield harmonics?" she asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. Murphy nodded, his image distorting slightly. "Yes, and more. Their supply lines are stretched thin. Hit them there, and their whole invasion force could crumble." Hawkins turned to her tactical officer. "Relay this data to all ships. I want new attack patterns drawn up in the next 5 minutes." She paused, a daring plan forming. "And get me Major John Stryker. I have a special mission for him." As the battle raged outside, Major Stryker and his team prepped for their high-risk operation. In the launch bay of the Invincible, they donned sleek, black stealth suits, a byproduct of Project Thunderbolt's research. "Remember," Stryker briefed his team, "we're going in quiet. Our objective is to infiltrate and gather intel, not engage in a firefight." The team boarded their stealth shuttle, its hull shimmering with adaptive camouflage. As they launched into the chaos of battle, the shuttle seemed to vanish, becoming nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Weaving through the debris field of destroyed ships, they approached a Lemnorian supply vessel. With practiced precision, they latched onto its hull and cut their way inside. The alien crew, caught off guard, fell quickly to the human operatives' silent takedown techniques. In the ship's control center, Stryker accessed the Lemnorian systems. "We're in, Admiral," he reported, "patching you into their comms now." Back on Earth, Dr. Marcus Davis wiped sweat from his brow as he made final adjustments to a prototype. The lab around him buzzed with frantic energy as engineers and scientists pushed themselves to the limit. "It's ready," he announced, hefting a sleek, compact railgun. "We've managed to miniaturize the technology. It's not as powerful as the ship-mounted versions, but it'll punch through Lemnorian armor like it's paper." Lieutenant Governor Chen, overseeing the project, nodded approvingly. "How quickly can we produce these?" "We've already started mass production," Davis replied. "The first batch will be deployed to key defensive positions within the hour." In orbit, the space battle intensified as Lemnorian reinforcements arrived. Supreme Commander Pollux, his mandibles clicking in anticipation, prepared to press his advantage. "All ships form up," he commanded. "We'll overwhelm their defenses with sheer numbers." But as the Lemnorian fleet moved into position, they found the human forces waiting for them. Admiral Hawkins, armed with the intelligence from Stryker's team, had anticipated their every move. "Thor's hammer, target the lead ship's port nacelle," she ordered. "All other vessels, concentrate fire on the coordinates I'm sending now." The massive orbital railgun fired, its projectile streaking across space. It struck the Lemnorian flagship with pinpoint accuracy, sending it spinning out of formation. Simultaneously, the human fleet opened fire, their shots finding vulnerabilities that had been hidden mere hours before. Lemnorian ships exploded in brilliant flashes, their once impenetrable defenses now seeming obsolete. Pollux watched in disbelief as his carefully planned assault crumbled around him. On the Lemnorian homeworld, the Galactic Alliance convened in an emergency session. Representatives from dozens of species argued heatedly, their translators struggling to keep up with the rapid-fire debate. "We cannot allow the humans to upset the balance of power," insisted the Zorak ambassador, his tentacles waving agitatedly. "But think of the potential," countered the Tellarite representative. "Their technological leaps could benefit us all." As the debate raged on, the decision to intervene hung in the balance. Back on Earth, millions of civilians manned auxiliary defense stations. In New Delhi, a schoolteacher named Priya found herself operating a targeting computer. In Rio de Janeiro, a baker named João coordinated supply deliveries to frontline units. From his command center on the lunar base, Lieutenant Jack Harper coordinated this global effort. "Keep those communication lines open," he ordered his team. "We need seamless integration between ground and space forces." In the midst of the chaotic battle, a group of Lemnorian ships suddenly broke formation. Sub-Commander Zex's voice crackled over the comms. "Attention, human fleet," he announced. "We wish to defect. We've seen your strength and ingenuity. We choose to stand with you against Pollux's tyranny." Admiral Hawkins hesitated only for a moment before making her decision. "Acknowledged, Sub-Commander. Take position with Beta Squadron. Let's show Pollux what our combined strength can do." As the battle shifted in Earth's favor, Pollux gathered his remaining loyal ships around his damaged flagship. "Prepare for a final assault," he growled. "We will not be defeated by these primitives." But even as he spoke, Major Stryker and his team moved silently through the corridors of Pollux's ship, planting explosives and gathering crucial intelligence. On Earth, Dr. Davis made another breakthrough. "We've done it," he exclaimed, presenting a small device to Lieutenant Governor Chen. "This EMP generator can temporarily disable their energy weapons. We're rolling them out to all our defense platforms now." As the new technology was integrated into Earth's defenses, the planet stood ready to face whatever Pollux might throw at them. The battle had reached its critical point, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. But for the first time since the war began, there was a glimmer of hope. Earth stood united, its people and technology working in harmony to repel the alien threat. In the vast emptiness of space, human and Lemnorian ships maneuvered for position, weapons charged and ready. The next phase of the battle was about to begin, and its outcome would determine the future of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. As the battle reached its climax, Major John Stryker and his infiltration team seized their moment. They had been lying in wait aboard Pollux's flagship, biding their time for the perfect opportunity to strike. Now, with the Lemnorian forces reeling from Earth's unexpected technological leap, that moment had arrived. Stryker's voice crackled over the secure comm channel. "Team, execute Operation Blackout. I repeat, execute Operation Blackout." The elite operatives sprang into action, their movements fluid and precise. They navigated through the alien corridors, their adaptive camouflage blending seamlessly with the surroundings. As they approached the main reactor, Stryker nodded to his explosives expert, Corporal Chen. Chen worked swiftly, planting charges at key points around the reactor. His fingers flew over the detonator, inputting a complex sequence. "Charges set, Major. Ready on your mark." Stryker's eyes narrowed as he assessed the situation. "Detonate." The explosions were carefully controlled, designed not to destroy the reactor outright, but to trigger a cascade of system failures. Alarms blared throughout the ship as power fluctuations rippled from deck to deck. Lemnorian crew members scrambled to contain the damage, their mandibles clicking in agitation. On the bridge, Supreme Commander Pollux felt his ship lurch beneath him. Displays flickered and died, plunging the command center into darkness before emergency power kicked in. "Status report," he bellowed, his voice barely audible over the cacophony of alarms. His second-in-command, struggling with a malfunctioning console, replied, "Multiple system failures, Commander. We've lost main power, weapons are offline, and communications are sporadic." Pollux's eyes blazed with fury. "How? How is this possible?" He slammed a clawed hand down on his command chair. "Reroute all available power to shields and engines. We will not be defeated by these primitives." But even as he issued the order, Pollux knew the tide had turned against him. Through the view screen, he watched helplessly as his once mighty fleet fell into disarray, their formation breaking apart under the relentless human assault. Aboard the UES Invincible, Admiral Sarah Hawkins saw her opportunity. "All ships, this is Admiral Hawkins. Pollux's flagship has been compromised. Concentrate all fire on these coordinates." She transmitted the targeting data with a decisive tap of her finger. The human fleet responded with a coordinated strike that would have been impossible mere months ago. Leading the charge was the newly retrofitted dreadnought Thunderchild, its massive frame belying its enhanced maneuverability. Captain Elena Rodriguez, at the helm of Thunderchild, called out to her crew, "All weapons, fire at will." A devastating barrage of smart munitions and railgun fire erupted from the human ships. The Lemnorian flagship's already weakened shields buckled under the assault, leaving the massive vessel exposed. On Earth, Dr. Marcus Davis stood in the control center of Project Thunderbolt, surrounded by banks of humming equipment. He took a deep breath, his hand hovering over a large red button. "This is it," he murmured to himself, then louder. "Activating global EMP network, now!" He pressed the button, and across the planet, carefully positioned electromagnetic pulse generators sprang to life. A wave of invisible energy swept outward, enveloping the Earth in a protective field. As Lemnorian ships breached the atmosphere, their energy weapons sputtered and died, leaving them vulnerable to counterattack. Lieutenant Jack Harper, his eyes fixed on the holographic display at the Lunar Command Center, coordinated Earth's ground response. "All sectors, be advised. We have multiple Lemnorian ships attempting planetfall. Intercept and neutralize with extreme prejudice." Across the globe, human defenders moved into position. In the outskirts of Buenos Aires, Sergeant Maria Gonzalez hefted one of the new man-portable railguns. Its weight was substantial, but as she took aim at the descending Lemnorian dropship, she felt a surge of confidence. "Let's see how you like this," she growled, squeezing the trigger. The railgun hummed to life, launching its projectile at hypersonic speed. It punched through the dropship's hull like it was paper, sending the alien craft into a spinning nosedive. Similar scenes played out around the world as humanity's defenders, armed with their new weapons, stood their ground against the Lemnorian ground troops. In orbit, Sub-Commander Zex led his defector fleet in a daring maneuver against the loyal Lemnorian ships. "All vessels, execute pincer formation, Zeta 3, he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "Remember, anticipate their crescent moon defense. We'll break through on my mark." The defector ships moved with precision, their human allies seamlessly integrating into the formation. As Zex predicted, the loyalist Lemnorian ships fell into their standard defensive pattern. But this time, it played right into the allies' hands. Zex's ships punched through the weakest point in the enemy formation, sowing confusion and panic among the loyalist forces. Admiral Hawkins watched the battle unfold with a mix of pride and amazement. Earth's forces, once outmatched and on the brink of defeat, now fought with a cohesion and effectiveness that seemed to defy all odds. She allowed herself a small smile before turning her attention back to the task at hand. "Status on Pollux's flagship?" she demanded. Her tactical officer responded promptly. "Their shields are down, Admiral. Hull integrity at 32% and falling. They're trying to disengage, but our forces have them surrounded." Hawkins nodded, her expression grim. "Prepare to deliver the final blow. I want that ship disabled, not destroyed. We may need Pollux alive for what's coming next." As she spoke, a new alert flashed across her command console. A fleet of unknown ships had just entered the system, their energy signatures unlike anything in Earth's database. Hawkins felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the significance of this new development. "Incoming transmission," her communications officer announced. It's from the Galactic Alliance, Admiral." The bridge fell silent as the face of High Counselor Xanthor appeared on the main view screen. The Arcturian's multiple eyes blinked in sequence as he regarded Admiral Hawkins. "Greetings, defenders of Earth!" Xanthor's voice resonated through the ship's speakers. "We, the Galactic Alliance, have come to mediate this conflict and reassess humanity's position in galactic affairs. We request an immediate cessation of hostilities and the opportunity to open diplomatic channels." Admiral Hawkins straightened, her mind racing with the implications of this unexpected turn of events. She opened her mouth to respond, knowing that her next words could shape the future of humanity in the cosmos. Admiral Hawkins took a deep breath, composing herself before addressing the Arcturian High Counselor. "We welcome the Galactic Alliance's intervention, High Counselor Xanthor. Earth is prepared to engage in diplomatic discussions. However, I must insist that we maintain our current defensive posture until negotiations are concluded." Xanthor's multiple eyes blinked in rapid succession. "Understood, Admiral. We propose a neutral meeting ground on your lunar surface. Would this be acceptable?" "Agreed," Hawkins replied, her mind already racing through the logistics. "We'll transmit coordinates shortly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have matters to attend to." As the transmission ended, Hawkins turned to her command staff. "Contact Earth immediately. We need to assemble our negotiation team." Within hours, the United Earth government had selected its representatives. Ambassador Carl Murphy, a seasoned diplomat with a reputation for level-headed negotiation, Admiral Sarah Hawkins herself to provide military insight, and Dr. Marcus Davis, whose technological breakthroughs had turned the tide of the war. On the lunar surface, newly promoted Captain Jack Harper oversaw the frantic preparations for the conference. He stood in the command center of the hastily constructed facility, watching as technicians integrated human and captured Lemnorian technology to create an impenetrable defensive perimeter. "Status report," Harper barked, his eyes never leaving the holographic display of the surrounding area. A young lieutenant responded crisply, "Defensive grid is at 92% capacity, sir. We've got a mix of railgun emplacements and energy shields covering every approach vector. Nothing's getting through without our say-so." Harper nodded, satisfied. "Good. Keep me updated on any anomalies." In Earth's orbit, a different kind of preparation was underway. Major John Stryker stood outside the temporary detention area where the defeated Lemnorian forces, including Supreme Commander Pollux, were being held. He turned to his team, their faces set with iron will. "Remember," Stryker said, his voice low, "we need information, not revenge. Pollux may be our enemy, but he's also our best source of intel on Lemnorian capabilities and galactic politics. Let's do this by the book." The team nodded in unison, and Stryker led them into the detention area. They found Pollux in a specially designed cell, his massive frame hunched over in defeat. As Stryker approached, the Lemnorian commander raised his head, mandibles clicking in what might have been defiance or resignation. "Supreme Commander Pollux," Stryker began, keeping his tone neutral, "we have some questions for you." Back on Earth, Dr. Davis's team worked tirelessly in their lab, pushing the boundaries of their recent technological breakthroughs. Davis stood before a holographic representation of their latest innovation, a new power source for the railguns. "The energy density is off the charts," he explained to his colleagues, excitement evident in his voice. "This will increase our rate of fire by 300% while reducing heat buildup by half. It's a game changer." One of his assistants spoke up, "Dr. Davis, the UEG has greenlit immediate integration into our defense systems. They want every unit upgraded before the Galactic Alliance Conference concludes." Davis nodded, a determined glint in his eye. "Then we'd better get to work." As the day of the conference arrived, the solar system became a hive of activity. Vessels from various Galactic Alliance races entered Earth's neighborhood, each one carefully scanned and escorted by Earth's defense fleet. The alien ship's crews watched in barely concealed awe as human vessels maneuvered with precision, their upgraded weapon systems humming with latent power. On the lunar surface, Ambassador Carl Murphy stood at the entrance to the conference facility, watching as the alien diplomats disembarked from their shuttles. He straightened his tie, acutely aware of the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. High Counselor Xanthor approached, his Arcturian bodyguards flanking him. "Ambassador Murphy," he greeted, his translator conveying a tone of cautious respect. "On behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I thank you for hosting us." Murphy bowed slightly. "The honor is ours, High Counselor. If you'll follow me, we've prepared the conference room." As they walked, Xanthor's eyes darted around, taking in the sophisticated security measures. "I must say, Ambassador, we are surprised by the level of technological advancement your species has displayed. It is most unexpected." Murphy allowed himself a small smile. "We have many surprises for you, High Counselor. But first, let us begin our discussions." The conference room was a marvel of human engineering, with holographic displays and real-time translation systems integrated seamlessly into the decor. As the delegates took their seats, Murphy stepped up to the podium. "Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Alliance," he began, his voice clear and confident, "we stand before you today not as a primitive species in need of protection, but as equals. We have prepared a comprehensive dossier on Earth's achievements, including detailed reports on the performance of our weapons against Lemnorian technology. As Murphy spoke, holographic displays came to life, showcasing Earth's military and technological prowess. The alien diplomats murmured among themselves, clearly impressed by what they saw. Suddenly, Admiral Hawkins's communicator buzzed. She excused herself discreetly and stepped out of the room to take the call. Her face paled as she listened to the report. "Understood," she said grimly. "I'm on my way." Hawkins re-entered the conference room, her expression grave. She leaned in close to Murphy and whispered, "We have a situation. A group of Lemnorian loyalists has launched an attack on one of our outer colonies. I need to coordinate our response." Murphy nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. As Hawkins left, he turned back to the assembled diplomats, his mind racing to adapt their strategy to this new development. On Earth, the United Earth Government's emergency protocols kicked into high gear. The Global Defense Network, now battle-tested and improved, sprang to life. Civilian auxiliary units, trained during the previous conflict, took up their positions with practiced efficiency. Dr. Davis, upon hearing of the new Lemnorian threat, rushed to the UEG's central command. He burst into the room, out of breath but eyes alight with inspiration. "I have a proposal," he announced to the assembled leaders. "We can use the captured Lemnorian ships, combined with our new weapons technology, to create a hybrid fleet. It'll be faster and more effective than anything we've fielded before." The room erupted in discussion, but the urgency of the situation led to a quick decision. "Do it," the UEG president ordered. "Whatever resources you need, you've got them." As word of the renewed Lemnorian aggression reached the lunar conference, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Many Galactic Alliance representatives, who had been skeptical of humanity's claims, now witnessed firsthand the threat posed by Lemnorian expansionism. Ambassador Murphy, sensing the change in mood, seized the opportunity. He stood commanding the attention of the room. "Distinguished delegates," he began, his voice resonating with conviction, "we find ourselves at a crossroads. The threat we face is not unique to Earth, but to galactic stability as a whole. I propose we form a joint task force, combining Earth's military innovations with Galactic Alliance resources to address these threats together." The proposal sparked intense debate among the alien representatives. Some enthusiastically supported the idea, while others remained cautious, wary of upsetting the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. As discussions continued on the Moon, Earth's newly formed hybrid fleet prepared for launch. Commodore Jack Harper, freshly promoted, stood on the bridge of the flagship, a retrofitted Lemnorian vessel now dripping with human weaponry. "All ships, report in," Harper commanded, his voice steady despite the tension. One by one, the captains of the hybrid fleet signaled their readiness. Harper allowed himself a small smile. This operation would serve as a live demonstration of humanity's capabilities for the watching Galactic Alliance delegates. "Fleet, prepare for hyperspace jump," Harper ordered. "Our mission is clear. Defend our colony and show these Lemnorian loyalists that humanity is not to be trifled with." As the hybrid fleet engaged its engines, the fate of humanity's place in the galactic community hung in the balance. The next few hours would determine whether Earth would be seen as a valued ally or a dangerous wildcard in the complex tapestry of interstellar politics. As the hybrid fleet engaged its engines, the fate of humanity's place in the galactic community hung in the balance. The next few hours would determine whether Earth would be seen as a valued ally or a dangerous wildcard in the complex tapestry of interstellar politics. Commodore Jack Harper stood on the bridge of his flagship, a former Lemnorian vessel now dripping with human weaponry. The view screen showed the swirling vortex of hyperspace as they hurtled towards their destination. "ETA to target, 3 minutes," his navigation officer announced. Harper nodded, his eyes scanning the tactical displays. "All ships, prepare for combat. Remember your training. We're not just fighting for our colony, we're fighting for Earth's future." The fleet dropped out of hyperspace, emerging into a chaotic scene. The Lemnorian loyalists had already begun their assault on the outer colony. their ships raining destruction on the planet's surface. "Weapons hot," Harper ordered. "Engage the enemy." The battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human-piloted Lemnorian ships darted between their former allies, unleashing salvos from their newly installed railguns. The Loyalists, caught off guard by the familiar silhouettes of their own ships, hesitated just long enough for Harper's fleet to gain the upper hand. "Bravo Squadron, execute Maneuver Delta," Harper commanded. "Charlie Squadron, provide covering fire." The hybrid ships moved with uncanny precision, their human pilots pushing the alien technology to its limits. Retrofitted Lemnorian energy weapons combined with Earth's advanced targeting systems created a deadly light show in the void of space. As the battle raged, the lunar conference room erupted into heated debate. High Counselor Xanthor's proposal to restructure the Galactic Alliance had sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. "This is preposterous," thundered the Krix ambassador, his scaled skin flushing a deep crimson. "You cannot seriously suggest granting these primitives a seat on the Security Council." Xanthor's multiple eyes blinked calmly. "I assure you, Ambassador, I am quite serious. The humans have demonstrated remarkable adaptability and military prowess. Their inclusion would strengthen our alliance immeasurably." Ambassador Carl Murphy seized the moment, stepping forward with a datapad in hand. "Esteemed delegates, if I may, we've just received word from Earth. Our scientists have made a breakthrough in weapons technology, combining the best aspects of our kinetic weaponry with Lemnorian energy systems." A murmur rippled through the room. Murphy continued, his voice steady and confident. "We are prepared to share this technology with our allies in the Galactic Alliance. Together, we can create a more secure galaxy for all our peoples." As debates raged on the moon, Major John Stryker faced a grim-faced Supreme Commander Pollux in the Orbital Detention Center. "Tell me about the superweapon," Stryker demanded, his voice low and intense. Pollux's mandibles clicked in what might have been resignation. It was to be our final solution, a device capable of destabilizing a planet's core. We call it the World Breaker. Stryker's blood ran cold. "Where is it?" "Hidden," Pollux replied. "In a system your kind hasn't even named yet. Coordinates are in my personal data core, back on my flagship." Stryker immediately relayed this information to Admiral Sarah Hawkins. The Admiral's face was grim as she received the report. "This changes everything," she muttered. She looked up at her communications officer. "Get me a secure line to Ambassador Murphy. He needs to know about this immediately." Back on Earth, the United Earth government convened an emergency session. The chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from every nation debated their next move. "We cannot pass up this opportunity," argued the representative from India. "Access to alien technology could solve our energy crisis overnight." "At what cost?" countered her counterpart from Brazil. "We risk losing our autonomy, becoming pawns in games played on a galactic scale." The president raised her hand for silence. "We must consider all angles. Our decision here will shape the future of our entire species." As the government deliberated, Dr. Marcus Davis and his team worked feverishly in their lab. Holographic schematics of the new hybrid weapon floated in the air, constantly shifting as they refined their design. "Increase the power to the focusing array," Davis instructed. "We need to show the aliens something they've never seen before." In lunar orbit, Admiral Hawkins's flagship suddenly came alive with activity. Long-range sensors had detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the solar system. "What in God's name?" Hawkins breathed, staring at the readouts. "Get me a visual now!" The main screen flickered to life, showing a distant point of light that was rapidly growing larger. It was a fleet, larger than anything they had ever encountered. "Sound General Quarters," Hawkins ordered, "and get me a line to the lunar conference. They need to know about this immediately." As alarms blared throughout Earth's defense network, Commodore Harper received new orders. His victory against the Lemnorian loyalists had been swift and decisive, but there was no time to celebrate. "Attention all ships," Harper's voice rang out across the comms. "We have a new mission. We're going after a Lemnorian superweapon. I need volunteers for a special strike team. As Harper began assembling his unprecedented multi-species task force, the lunar conference reached a fever pitch. The Crix delegation, along with several allied races, was threatening to leave the Galactic Alliance. We will not be part of an organization that elevates barbarians to positions of power, the Crix ambassador roared. Ambassador Murphy, his composure never wavering, addressed the room. Distinguished delegates, I understand your concerns. But consider this. Earth stands ready to face threats that would destroy us all. Even now, our forces move to neutralize a weapon that could shatter worlds. We don't ask for power, we ask for partnership. As Murphy spoke, Dr. Davis's team finalized their preparations for the hybrid weapon demonstration. On Earth, the UEG reached a decision, and at the edge of the solar system, the mysterious fleet drew ever closer. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of the entire galaxy. As multiple threads converged, diplomacy, technology, military might, and unknown threats, the stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the cosmos. The massive energy buildup at the edge of the solar system intensified, setting off alarms across Earth's defense network. Admiral Sarah Hawkins stood on the bridge of her flagship, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays. All ships, battle formations, she ordered, her voice steady despite the tension. Prepare for possible hostile contact. Earth's defense fleet moved into position, a mix of human vessels and retrofitted alien ships. The crew worked with practiced efficiency, their training paying off in this moment of crisis. Suddenly, the mysterious fleet emerged from hyperspace. The sight took everyone's breath away. These weren't Lemnorian ships or anything they'd ever encountered before. The vessels were massive, their design a perfect blend of function and artistry. "My God," Hawkins whispered, her eyes wide. Before she could issue further orders, every communication channel lit up simultaneously. A message, broadcast on all frequencies, filled the airwaves. People of Earth and the Galactic Alliance, we are the progenitors. We have returned to oversee the development of our seeded worlds. The bridge fell silent, the implications of this announcement sinking in. The progenitors, a race thought to be nothing more than a myth, responsible for spreading life throughout the galaxy, had returned. The message continued, "We have observed your recent conflicts with disappointment. However, we commend the humans for their resourcefulness and courage in the face of overwhelming odds." On the moon, the diplomatic negotiations erupted into chaos as news of the progenitors' arrival spread. Ambassador Carl Murphy seized the moment, stepping forward to address the stunned delegates. "Distinguished representatives," he began, his voice cutting through the din, "we stand at a crossroads of galactic history. The progenitors' return offers us a unique opportunity to reshape our alliance, to create a truly unified galactic community." High Counselor Xanthor, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly, moved to support Murphy. "The human speaks wisdom. We must adapt to this new reality." As debates raged on the moon, Commodore Jack Harper's covert team received new orders from Admiral Hawkins. Their ship, a hybrid of human and Lemnorian technology, streaked through space towards the coordinates of the hidden superweapon. "Change of plans, team," Harper announced to his diverse crew of humans and alien defectors. "We're to secure the weapon for study, not destroy it." The team, initially surprised, quickly adapted to their new objective. As they worked together, fine-tuning their approach, Harper couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. This was what humanity had been fighting for, the chance to stand shoulder to shoulder, or tentacle, or pseudopod, with other species as equals. Back on Earth, Dr. Marcus Davis and his team put the finishing touches on their hybrid weapon technology. The lab hummed with excitement as holographic projections danced in the air. "We've done it," Davis said, his voice filled with awe. "This isn't just a weapon. It's a key to unlocking entirely new fields of physics." A communication from the UEG flashed on his screen. Davis read it, his eyebrows rising. "They want us to demonstrate this to the Galactic Alliance and the progenitors." His team exchanged nervous glances, but Davis grinned. Let's show them what humanity can do. On the moon, the situation took a sudden, dangerous turn. The Crix delegation, seeing their influence slipping away, made a desperate move. They attempted to seize control of the conference, their hidden weapons coming out in a flash of aggression. Captain Jack Harper, head of conference security, sprang into action. Non-lethal takedowns only, he ordered his team. We're here to make friends, not corpses. Using a combination of Earth's new weapons technology and good old-fashioned hand-to-hand combat, Harper's team neutralized the Crix threat in a matter of minutes. The other delegates watched in amazement as the humans efficiently subdued the attackers without a single fatality. As the Crix were led away, Ambassador Murphy stepped forward once again. This is the strength of humanity, he declared. Not just our weapons or our technology, but our ability to show restraint and wisdom, even in the heat of battle. The progenitor representatives, observing from their ships, sent a message of approval. Their endorsement sent a ripple of excitement through the assembled delegates. Meanwhile, Commodore Harper's team successfully secured the Lemnorian superweapon. As they began to study the device, Harper's eyes widened in surprise. This technology, he muttered, it's similar to our latest innovations. How is that possible? He immediately relayed this information to Admiral Hawkins. The implications were staggering. Humanity had been on the verge of a monumental breakthrough without even realizing it. With all the pieces falling into place, a grand conference was convened in Earth's orbit. Representatives from the Galactic Alliance, Earth, the defeated Lemnorians, and the progenitors gathered on a massive space station. Dr. Davis stood before the assembled delegates, his hands steady as he prepared to demonstrate the hybrid weapon technology. The air was thick with anticipation. Esteemed representatives, he began, what you are about to see is not just a weapon, but a doorway to a new understanding of the universe itself. With that, he activated the device. A controlled burst of energy, more precise and powerful than anything the galaxy had seen before, lanced out into space. The assembled aliens gasped in awe. The progenitor representatives conferred among themselves, their ancient eyes glowing with interest. Finally, one stepped forward. Humans, the progenitor said, its voice resonating with power, you have taken the first step on a path that will lead to wonders beyond your imagining. This technology is the key to unlocking the secrets of our own advanced weaponry. As the implications of this statement sank in, the Galactic Alliance erupted into excited discussions. Earth, once dismissed as a backwater world, was now at the forefront of a new era of galactic science and cooperation. In light of these events, the Alliance underwent a dramatic restructuring. Earth was granted a leadership position, with humanity's spirit of innovation recognized as vital for the galaxy's future. The Lemnorians, under the guidance of the reformed Subcommander Zex, were given a path to redemption through peaceful exchange. The progenitors, satisfied with the resolution, announced their intention to establish an outpost in the solar system. We will guide the younger races, they declared, towards a brighter future for all. As the conference concluded, humanity stood tall among the stars. Earth's once mocked kinetic weapons had evolved into the cornerstone of a new galactic defense doctrine. The United Earth government, now a respected member of the Galactic Alliance, began preparations for its new role in interstellar affairs. Admiral Sarah Hawkins, newly promoted to Fleet Admiral, stood on the bridge of her flagship. She looked out at the stars, a small smile playing on her lips. Earth's journey from a mocked, primitive species to a leader in the galactic community had been long and arduous, but they had prevailed. As she gave the order to stand down from high alert, Hawkins couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. This wasn't an ending, but a beginning. Humanity had proven itself, yes, but the real adventure, exploring the galaxy alongside their new allies, unlocking the secrets of the progenitors, and pushing the boundaries of science and technology, was just beginning. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as Earth's fleet began to disperse, each ship carrying with it the promise of a new era of exploration, innovation, and interstellar cooperation.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.